2 goals for you. How important are 3 points as it won for Chelsea?
Yeah, I think very important. I think we have to come in the top 4. That's our goal for the season, 100%. And I think this win today is crucial for us. And now on Wednesday another tough game, but of course we are very happy about the win.
You looked very confident with both your finishes. How cool did you feel going through on the goalkeeper?
Yeah, to be honest, it felt good to score very early the goal, so it gave me a little bit of confidence. But yeah, of course, for me it's always good to score, and I'm very happy to help the team with the goals, and I hope I can continue on Wednesday like this.
Did both goals owe a lot to the quality of your teammates? Great touch and pass from Mason for the first goal, lovely bit of quality from Timo for the second.
Yeah, of course, I said that before. We have a lot of quality players in our team, and for us it's easy, to create chances. And I think that's the aim for the strikers, to score goals. And when you have like midfielders like this behind your back, it's always good. So of course I know I have good teammates, and I'm very lucky that they helped me today like this.
You said already another big game on Wednesday. How are you finding that schedule at the moment of big game, big game? Every game is tough, every game is important.
Yeah, to be honest, very hard. You have to concentrate every 3 days on another game and another competition, and it's hard. It's the end of the season. We almost played 9 months now already, and it's hard. You come home, you have 2 or 3 days to regenerate, and on Wednesday you play again. It's good to have now 3 days for the 3 days in between the next game. Last week I think it was more tough, but of course very hard. But that's the reason why we are professionals, and we have to be professional like this now.
Most reflections on the victory? How important a win was it?
Very, very important. I'm very proud, because in between 2 big games, semi-finals is so hard to be full on, and we knew that Fulham gives everybody a hard time. You don't find matches where the opponents play the brilliant football, because they make you underperform, and they make you work hard, and they make you suffer, and you cannot get confused by the table, because they're in the bottom of the table. Absolutely not. That's why I have highest respect for what we did today. It was tough for us physical-wise, but we hang in the game. We created some chances. We could have decided the match early on, but it was a tough one, but a very, very important win. And now is the best moment, also the best situation to arrive for Wednesday.
Focus was the big word for you beforehand. Was it as you wanted it?
Yes, it was absolutely like this. We were spot on. This was what we demanded from ourselves, and it was the moment to show the pride also that we are capable of doing it in between 2 big games. Because this was also a big win for us in the big game. It was also important to keep the advantage. We worked so hard against West Ham and all the other matches to be in this situation. And I'm very happy that we did it. There was absolutely no lack of concentration. Like I said, we had some troubles during a match, which has everybody who plays against a Fulham side who are like preparing this game for a whole week. It's absolutely normal. But we had no lack of concentration, and that was the key point.
3 points again for Chelsea. 11 clean sheets in Thomas Tuchel's 15 Premier League games in charge. That is the best record of any Premier League manager in his first 15 games in this league. What kind of foundation has he given them here that you think now they're a certainty for the top 4?
I do, yeah. And I think probably because of that reason. What we see going forward for Chelsea is one thing, but the shape, the 3 at the back, they can all use the ball. Whoever plays, they're comfortable on the ball, but they're really doing the first thing he's got them doing is you defend first. Be a good defender. And they've got that unit really sealed off lovely. If they're pressed, they can play through it over the top today. If you give them space and time, Silva will pick you off with balls, and Christensen has got great feet as well. So, Rudiger has come on to a hell of a game, hasn't he, this season? He didn't have a look in really under Frank Lampard. Something happened there. He's come back in and he's made them much more solid. So there's a real solid look about. They tweaked the midfield a little bit today in the sense they had one holding player in there. They normally have the 2, and they had a little look at Mount and Ziyech just playing. It's 2 8s really in many ways. And then at the end, Tuchel says, right, we're 2-0 up. Kante comes on, sits in there, and they go back to them two sort of deeper players in midfield. They've got flexibility right through the pitch, and I think they're a hard side to play against at the moment.
OK, Glenn thinks they're a certainty for the top four. Everton?
Is it?
Well, it's a nice problem for Chelsea to have. 2 goals in his first 24 Premier League games and then 2 in 1 match today. You spoke about him before the game. How much will that help him? He talked about confidence.
He was talking about that confidence, Steve, wasn't he? And I think those goals will give him confidence. You just see the signs coming now, don't you? He's looking to go in behind defences, and he's got his 2 goals today. As he said, they were created well for him. But he's now looking to get in that penalty area and hurting about him to finish. And today, he nearly got his hat-trick a couple of times, similar little runs. You're thinking a hat-trick now for him would just set him right off. I think there's so much more to come from Havertz and Werner as well, the 2 Germans. They linked up well for the second goal. But Chelsea tonight they were just in a canter in many ways.
Yes, Glenn says lovely finishes the first half inside the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, terrific goals. His first was a lovely piece of play by Mason Mount, but you have to get into those positions, you have to finish them, you have to be alert. Chelsea as a team were clever. When you're being pressed, you don't get sucked into it. You can comfortably, if you've got quality, play over the press. Fulham have to win the header there. As a centre-back, long ball going forward, you have to win it, but terrific piece of skill. Once he gets in there, he holds the defender off really, really well, and it's a quality finish, Glenn.
It certainly is. Look, he's taken that sort of wide berth there, but he's joining. As soon as Mason Mount brings that, look, he goes to go inside, but then makes that run in behind. So there's a tiny bit of movement before Mason Mount slides that ball in. But there, look, he gets a nudge there. There's the little nudge, but he manages to stay strong, keep his balance, and tuck it under the keeper.
And that was early in the first half, and he got his second early into the second half as well, didn't he?
Yes, I think, you know, Werner it was a really good ball because when you're that close to the 18-yard box, to hit a straight ball in there, it's got to be absolutely perfect. Look at the way he took the ball there, Havertz, in the first, and there's that little ball there is different class. To hit a straight ball like that over 5 or 6 yards and get the weight of pass right was excellent. It really was. And look at that for his confidence. Look, lovely little bit of skill, the outside of his foot. And his teammate, you know, there it is, 1-2, 1 touch, there he goes. That's a lovely weighted pass in between the 2 defenders. Beautifully finished.
And the timing of his runs on both occasions for both goals, his timing of knowing when to arrive. Yes, the passes have to be timed well as well, but making the run, and he just glides, and you see he times it perfectly, right on the line. The passes is wonderful, but it's no fluke. That's quality, that's intelligence, that's timing, knowing when the pass is going to be played and arriving on cue. And then the best part is when you get into those situations, having the quality to finish. Yeah,
and that's something they've looked at, because Fulham hold that 18-yard box. I've done many games this year where they just hold the 18-yard box. They won't go back in. And he's, as Oz has said, perfect timing. And it's a little bit, sometimes you've got to go with the runner. If they've got the run on you, and I think they were like sitting ducks there in the end, and good players will pick you off.
Do you think next season we're going to see, or the Chelsea fans in particular, are going to see even more from these 2 German boys after a year of settling in, looking at the link up there?
I would expect so. I think in the German league, I think they were showing their quality. Sometimes it takes a while to set into a new country's style of play. I think we've seen signs. I think it's been a difficult year for a lot of players, especially young players who are having to take their whole lives and move to a whole new country to fit in. And I think you've seen glimmers. I think you've seen pieces of them pick their head above the parapet and show the quality they have in glimpses. Yeah. But as this season's come towards the end, I think we've seen more and more, and that is only a good sign as you look towards next season.
OK, those 2 German players. Chelsea in front then at half-time at the Bridge by 1-0 against third from bottom Fulham. What have you made of it, Glenn?
Well, at the moment, they're 1-0 up, Chelsea, but they're playing within, really. I think Fulham really started well. They pressed hard, Chelsea, and forced them to play long. And strangely enough, that's where they conceded in the end. We'll have a look at that in a minute. But, yeah, they're playing within themselves. You know, we know the shape. Mount's playing slightly different than we thought. He's not as deep alongside Gilmour. And they were finding it hard to get out through the pitch, through the midfield. But Mount's bit of skill playing that little bit further forward has been really the difference in the two teams.
Yeah, it's interesting that Glenn talks about the press. You noticed that straight away from Fulham.
Yeah, well, we wondered how Fulham would approach the game. Would they sit off and be passive and try and play counter-attack, or would they be aggressive in their approach? And that's the way it came out. Right from the first whistle, they really went at Chelsea, trying to force them on the back foot, trying to make Chelsea play quickly, making sure there was no avenues to play forward. And you can only do this if you work as a team. The whole of the unit has to be working in tandem. And certainly the front 6 or 7 players did terrifically well for the opening 10 minutes or so, Glenn, didn't they?
No, they were excellent at it. They really were. And Chelsea found it so hard to get out. And they were forcing them. That's the idea. Force them to play long, pick up the second ball, and then press them again. And it was working really well for them. All over the pitch, really. Look, here again, they've all marked up. They will nick the ball again. And they're winning the ball in Chelsea's defensive third, which is making life, at that time, a lot easier for them.
And eventually, Chelsea found an answer to that.
Well, when you're a team full of intelligent players, you'll generally figure out how to play against the opposition. And Chelsea, it didn't take them long. They found a weakness. When you're getting pressed as aggressively as this, sometimes, I mean, it's not fashionable, but sometimes you beat the press with a longer pass. Sometimes you drop the pass forward, and then you see Fulham leaving 2v2 at the back. You have to do that at times if you're going to press properly. But Chelsea figured it out, played forward. But, you know, we'll see it with the goal. That especially, when that pass is played forward by Chelsea, Fulham have got to win the first ball. That press from Fulham, they do that to make you play long, and you'll see it here, Glenn. You've got to win that ball when it goes forward.
There's nothing wrong with the pressing here. Look. Great save.